I think the players feel this is their best win of the year. I think this might be their best win of the year because of all of the things that they've had going on these last few days with the Real Muto injury and the Schwarber injury, and you're down Trey Turner. You've got all of these scrubs. I don't want to lose Cristopher Sanchez in that he walks in a run with the bases loaded and nobody out, and it's 3-1. He knows he's got to give the team some length on Monday because of the bullpen usage from the previous days. So he then strikes out the side with the bases loaded and nobody out on 9 pitches after walking a guy. When I have never seen that ever. And then for him to continue on and pitch into the 6th inning, it was a tremendous effort from Sanchez to right the ship, to give the team a chance. Good work by the bullpen to keep the score where it was, and then for the offense to allow Edwin Diaz to kind of implode Bryson Stott. Hops on a fastball and hits one out, and all of a sudden it's a 1-run game, and Diaz is a little bit wild, and you're taking advantage of that. I thought they were gonna screw it up when Stubbs popped out to make it 1st and 2nd with 2 outs, but
yes.
They figured out a way to make it happen, and to me, this is the best win of the season for all of the intangibles, all the different things that we saw. I think they think it's the best win of the season too.
Obviously,
I think when you talk about a guy's performance in a game, you're like, oh, his performance really helped them get this win. The assumption is that it was like this dominant performance, but like dominating performances are rarer than you think, and sometimes it comes down to more like, how did this guy perform in the game's worst moment or the game's toughest moment for him? And in Sanchez's case, he bore down and struck out 3 straight guys with the minimum number of pitches you need to be able to do that. And that's insane. Bryson Stott came up in a game where the Phillies offense was not seeing the ball or making hard contact and generated most of the offense in some capacity when he needed to. And again, this was a night when the Phillies top to bottom were not getting it done, and you could not rely on everybody. It just wasn't there. They were facing, especially facing Edwin Diaz. Like that's a tough call, especially on the road. But they had a couple of guys who came up in key moments and performed well, even if you had like Nick Castellanos go 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts again. Like you can be a guy who had a good night and stepped up when it counted and not necessarily pitched 7 shutout innings.
Phillies 14-3 in their last 17 games. Sheil Kapadia from the Philly Ringer, the Philly Special, the Ringer's Philly Special. I've screwed that up. Noted that their 3 losses have been. Who cares? Their 3 losses have been.
Never gonna have us on.
Nope.
Yeah, who gives a crap?
Who cares?
Yeah, that's all right. But he has a good note. I'm going to give him credit for the note. Their 3 losses have been by a total of 4 runs in their last 17 games. So, like when they're losing, it's by a razor's edge. Like they honestly could have won all 17 of these games that they've played with, where they've gone 14-3. Like the losses are by a razor's edge. I mean, it's so, and they haven't lost consecutive games in 20 days, and they've only lost consecutive games twice so far this year. The first 2 games against the Braves, and then 2 games in that Red Series in Cincinnati in the middle of April. They have yet to lose 3 in a row this season. It just feels to me like, in this win, I think highlighted it. They can't imagine the concept of losing consecutive games anymore. Like they just won't allow it to manifest itself.
I realized that tonight, when it looked like they were losing, like, wow, they're gonna lose 2 games in a row. That stinks. And when you started talking about it, I thought, well, they did lose. They lost tonight. Like, no, they didn't. They won that game. We just talked about it, and I stamped myself back. Like, no, they did win that game. And it's This is exactly the win that they needed at this moment.